this a secret? I know you like to keep it clean. No prying eyes to keep you honest. What do you hide when you hide with me? If you think you're clever, then you've never weathered anyone like me. I've been training all my life. Guess your numbers aren't right, 'cause when she calls mine, I'm not gonna lie. Those pretty eyes, are you scared now? You can't erase all the things you've seen. Do you like my shows and all my monsters? Now you're my latest favorite thing. Do you wanna play misbehave? Say the ways you plan to hurt me, abuse and drain me dry. Now you wanna know if you'll make it out alive. Nah, I'm not gonna lie.
Alrighty. It is time to get the show on the road. And away we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the TTRPG Theater. I am your host, Bob, otherwise known as Phantom NJ. And welcome to another Thursday edition where we're just talking about stuff, interesting things. Today we have a special topic. As most of you, anyone watching the show regularly, knows that, or watching the stream regularly, knows that this past weekend was virtual Greyhawk Con 5. It's amazing to think that it is the fifth one. It seems like saying it over and over, but it seems like, wasn't all that long ago that we were working on getting the first one set up and doing all the things that we needed to do, picking where how we were going to host the con. It seems, doing the testing of various applications that could be used and such. But now we are at number 5, and it was a special weekend. It was a long weekend. It was a weekend that's actually started on Thursday night and went all the way through Sunday evening. And, I might have been kind of busy that weekend. Just a wee bit. I ran a few sessions. And it looks like we are going to have some people incoming. So let's see, who do we have? All right. Yeah. So anyway, the weekend was a great weekend. It was important on a number of notes, and well, let's get started. Let's start this evening by first mentioning the fact that the stream is sponsored by Trollwood Games. Trollwood Games, fine makers of Castles and Crusades, amazing adventures. The new printing of which is Speaking of Troll Lord Games, welcome Raiders. Good to see everyone. Hope you had a fun show talking about science fiction, science fantasy, science something something. That show had a surprising lack of aliens. I'm it's not your usual Troller game stream. I mean, you usually have aliens mentioned somewhere. Lord Kazumba, thank you so much for the subscribe. 14 months. I really appreciate it, sir. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. So, we're just getting started and okay, by the way, all right, we'll see where that goes in a second. Jordan makes an NPC cameo tonight. Ooh, okay, all right. I was going to tune in anyway, but you got me. Savage Splendors, thank you so much for the subscription. Really appreciate it. So yeah, this past weekend was Virtual Greyhawk Con 5, which it was so much fun. This one, it got expanded a little. We actually started off on Thursday night. Do I enjoy Virtual Greyhawk Con? I guess that, is it a good weekend for me? Yeah. It is a weekend where I admittedly overdose on gaming. Everything pedal to the metal. I'm going to get in all the gaming I can because it isn't a fact problem with me saying no. It's I can't stop myself from saying yes. So if there's an opportunity to play in another game, it's going to happen. So we started off on Thursday night with Lord Kazumba himself, and let me get a shout. First of all, let's get a couple shouts here. Not that all you need don't already know where to find Troller Games, but start off on Lord Kazumba stream, playing an adventure written by William Henry Dvorak. Those of you on Twitch may know him as Giant Stomp. Will is a fantastic creator in the the Greyhawk community. If you enjoy playing 5e, he has written all kinds of stuff to make your 5e Greyhawk campaign feel more Greyhawk. I mean, and the thing is, all the stuff that he's written, even if you're not a 5e fan, I mean, obviously there's a lot of Castle Crusades fans. You may be fans of other games and whatever rule set you play by, as long as you're playing, doesn't matter. We're not here to yuck anyone else's yum. Whatever game you enjoy playing, the stuff that he writes, it's still food for thought, inspiration, things that you can port to whatever game that you want to run. Even if it's just the concepts, the backstory, as such. There's all kinds of stuff. So I highly recommend you checking him out. He does have a Patreon. Unfortunately, I really need to get his Patreon link. But he eventually does publish all the stuff so that everyone can download it. And it's all great. So we're playing in an adventure he wrote called Lost City of the Soul. Well, actually, the adventure technically is called something else because you need to file off those serial numbers. We are 100 bits or one sub away from a hype train. That'd be a cool way to start, but not I'm not going to go back for it. Anyone's feeling so inclined. And it was special for a number of reasons. One, I got to play alongside the legendary Elminster himself, Ed Greenwood, which was a lot of fun. That was a special moment. But the adventure was a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, always playing in games run by Jay, Lord Kazumba, is always a great time. I got to play my character, Durgan Flintblade. He's a fighter thief. Savage Splendors, thank you. Unfortunately, it has to be somebody who did not already contribute. So I do appreciate the 100 bits very, very much. I appreciate the thought. Keith, good to see you. So yeah, playing in that game is always a hell of a lot of fun. It was a great crew. We had a fantastic time. It was a wonderful way to kick off the weekend. And that was just that was the first 4 hours of my weekend. You know, there was another session after that. I probably should have turned that particular timer off, but what the heck. There was another session on Darling Creepshow's channel. And then the next morning, there was a bunch of games running. The first full day of the con was Friday. I had one of the morning promoted streams. There was I know that Troller Games had, I think, at least one, if not two sessions on Friday. I think one was run by Steven, one was run by Chuck, if I'm remembering correctly. But I had the first of 3 sessions that I ran. Yeah, it happens. I do appreciate the thought, and I appreciate the subscriptions and the 100 bits. That's awesome. Chuck ran both. Okay. All right. I missed that part. I also, while I was in the middle of running and playing, and Friday, there was a lot of running and playing going on. I did try to at least check in and lurk on as many streams as possible. But yeah, Friday I was a busy boy. Friday I ran 2 streams, 2 games. All 3 of the sessions that I ran were not only obviously set in Greyhawk, but they were also part of my Embers of Empire campaign. There were 3 streams totaling 14 hours. The 2 on Friday were a total of 8 hours. I had, I think 4 players that played in both of them. 3 of those players played the same. Actually, I think it was either 3 or 4 of them played the same character in the 2 streams, 2 games. And it was fantastic. I mean, the games went great. We had a lot of fun, more characters added, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what that means because, the weekend also marked a really special moment for me personally. Other than the fact it was Hawktober, as I like to call the weekend of Virtual GreyhawkCon. It's always the first weekend in October. And that Friday night, I also got to play in a game run by Carlos Lysing, who has written so many modules that are, well, they're set in the world of Greyhawk, or you can easily set them in the world of Greyhawk. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. If you know, you know. And somehow in all this time, I had never actually gotten to play in one of his games. So when the schedule came out and we were getting ready to, the tickets were about to open in terms of being able to sign up for games. That and Jay's Thursday night game were 2 that I was all set to go and, jump on as soon as I possibly could. I think I might have been able to have, if I remember correctly, I think I was able to jump on Jay's game because I think I had the wrong date or timer or something. I think it was like the only reason I was able to definitely do both. But yeah, well, there's also that coming. I haven't even gotten to Saturday night because, playing in the Friday night game, so I started my day somewhere. I think my day started at 10 a.m. For the first of my 2 stream games on Friday. Went all the way until I think Carlos's game started at 8 p.m. It was supposed to be a 3-hour game. We were really close to being able to close it out, and we all decided to keep going a little longer. So we ended up being about 3.5 hours. It was a long day, 10 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. I was supposed to have an hour break. I'm not going to talk about the person who, their stream kept me waiting for to raid into. I am not going to point out Chuck. Oh wait, well, hey, Brew and Gold, good to see you. You're just in time. We were talking about a bit about Friday. So that was Friday, and Friday, for some people, my Friday schedule would have been enough for my Thursday night through Friday schedule might have been enough for some people, but again, this is Virtual Greyhawk Con weekend, and I always take the Monday off because I know I'm just going to be exhausted, and because I know I'm going to be exhausted, I might as well just make sure I leave nothing in the tank. Which brings us to Saturday. Saturday was the third of my 3 streams, and it was special on a number of levels. First of all, it was again one of my another game in the campaign, Embers of Empire campaign. It is also the original party for that campaign, now known after a few sessions, maybe about a third of the way through the year, came up with the name of the Righteous Hands for the group. There are 5 characters from the original 6. That the 6th person has kind of like left the community altogether. Has been replaced. There is a 6th character. Unfortunately, he was not able to make it due to some personal business he had to attend to. We missed having him there because Asanius is one of the great characters in the campaign. Everyone enjoys having Sanius there. Played by Dirty Dwarf. But I had the 5 characters from the original session, and it was 1 year ago at Virtual Greyhawk Con that this group came together and this campaign started. They were the first group, the first adventure, and they had asked, wanted to do something special. It's like, well, do a longer game. And we had to kind of compromise because they didn't understand how long I was willing and able to go. So, I've run games that have gone for 10 hours, 12 hours, or played at least run over the course of 12 hours. No one's going to do a 12 hour game with the same players. That streamed is probably not going to go to that's one thing. People do 24-hour streams, but to do the one game, that might have been a much for my players. I could do it. I've done it. I've done 12-hour games. Doesn't concern me, but we decided on a 6-hour game. And one of the really cool things that happened, or one of the great things about it being a 6-hour game, was the fact that I didn't have to rush anything. And the importance of that came when the party was trying to figure out what exactly was going on and went searching for information. And the 5-person party split up in 5 different directions. Granted, all 5 of those directions were located within a city. I didn't have to worry about them going too far off the beaten path. They knew they were getting back together, and there was a point at which they were going to be getting back together. So I didn't have to worry too much about that. But I was able to spend some time with each of them exploring the location that they went to, what they found there, who they talked to, do a little bit of setup for the place, the location, and give it a feel where I didn't have to rush it. It didn't, I wanted to be cognizant of the fact that while one is doing their thing, the other 4 are sitting there. At the same time, they're paying attention because, this is all information they're going to end up sharing afterward. And I was able to give them the time and space they need to explore without them feeling like their part was really, really rushed. It was as much or as little as they needed to do, and it worked out perfectly. The adventure itself was titled When the Levee Breaks. And I had teased about the fact that changes were coming. Um, and there was some significant changes. This is a campaign that started, a year ago, in the world of Greyhawk in the Kingdom of Nyrond, a kingdom that, for those of you who are familiar, especially if you're familiar with the Greyhawk Wars and what happened afterwards, it's a kingdom that was uh, growing. It had grown a bit because it had taken over one of its neighbors who unfortunately had been not only invaded, but pretty much the entire land was ransacked and taken for everything that they had. So when they were liberated, they were just kind of annexed, um, which kind of plays into things. I had teased the fact that there's a lot of unrest there. At the same time, I moved the adventure from the southern part of the kingdom to this particular session. Was located in the capital. And they had already had run-ins, with one of the royals in a previous adventure. Actually, I think it might have been the last session before this one they had come into. They had met the princess, or actually had helped save the princess from people who were after her. And they also had a callback because the antagonist, who they never ended up actually facing in the session. 6 hours. There were two combat scenarios in it, and neither one of them ended up involving the main villain of the main villains of the particular story. In their very first session, they had liberated a town on the border of the Nat Marsh to the west from a witch. And for those of you who are a little bit familiar with Greyhawk, and especially the eastern side of the map, which we like to tease Jay because Jay doesn't play on the eastern side of the map, the witches of the Nat Marsh have been a constant problem. And I had created a witch and used her as the first enemy that they ever faced. They had managed to capture the witch without killing her 1 year ago. And as it turns out, that kind of came back to haunt them a bit, perhaps, because in this adventure, as part of this adventure, there were several things going on at the same time. Now, those of you who have tuned in know that I like to run a sandbox game. There's an overarching story. The antagonists have their plans. Those plans will play out over the course of the game in time. Oh, and of course, there's going to be scenarios, tasks that, because the party is members of an adventuring guild, they're going to have things that they're asked to do. But there's also going to be other stuff that's going to happen, and it's up to them to choose how they engage. Well, one of the things that was happening was it became pretty apparent at one point, due to events happening within the city, that somebody was trying to break into the prison beneath the city courts. They found out, much to their chagrin, that the person being broken out was the witch in question, and she was broken out by her two sisters. The party, and this is after they've done all their investigations, trying to figure out what else is going on, trying to get information, because in the other two adventures that happened over the weekend, they kept coming across somebody causing trouble. The two scenarios both involved notes in the villain at the end, whoever it was they faced at the end, after they had captured or killed them, found a note mentioning that were all signed by just with the letter V. And they were in the process of investigating this when the whole situation with the witches broke out. They never they didn't get to the to whoever V was. They had possible thoughts as to who it could be, but they did not really come up with a solid name. They do know somebody who suspects that they know who V is, but the whole breakout of the witch led them to finding the combat that basically took us to the end of the stream, where they were facing demons in the streets of Relmord, the capital of Narond, that had kind of cleared out the streets near the city courts. By the time they were done, what they ended up finding out was that the king and queen of Narond had been killed. They don't completely have the details as to how that happened. But they suspect they know who it was. The belief being that it is the witches, and I'm not going to I'm going to neither confirm nor deny, but that's as far as they know, that's what happened. And then there is the matter of now the princess is going to be the queen. There is a freestanding relationship there because they had managed to save her and some of her party members when they were being chased by unknown adversaries. There was also the matter of the person who initially, I had forgotten to mention, when they arrived in the city, there was a sadness over the city because there was a woman who was a cousin to the queen, cousin to the king, I should say, who was supposed to be the heir because of services that she had rendered toward the crown in saving the queen at one point in the past, and the king wanting to keep his daughter from having to bear the burden of leadership and dealing with the suffering that one must endure. The king seeing his father having been poisoned, likely by the younger prince, who eventually raised up a coup, briefly took over the capital, and this is in years past, and was eventually killed. So there's been a lot of family tragedy. The king had sought to shield his daughter from that responsibility. Unfortunately, that was not to be. So part of their investigation was trying to figure out, what was the death. The heir had died from a sickness, and you're the heir to the crown. You would think that there'd be clerics around when you need them. Apparently there was not. There was a lot of investigating done, but all that went by the wayside when the breakout of the witches happened. So now we get to the point where we're headed into year 2 of the campaign. To this point, we've had, I want to say, somewhere in the area of 26 different player characters in the campaign. There have been 3, quasi-set parties. There are, some of the characters have played with more than one party. But yeah, there's been, I think it's something something along the lines of 22 players having played 26 characters. And it's fantastic. I like to try to bring people back. I'm hoping to bring more people in. I'm always interested in expanding the roster. But it was a thrill to be able, with this party, have a 6-hour session that I could not have asked for more from. Maybe it would have been cool if we could have gotten in another combat. I wasn't missing it. I don't know. I don't think the party was missing it either. That last combat, the the last combat kind of had them on the edge of their seats. There was some very, very clever gameplay on behalf of the party. And, I got to incorporate a lot of stuff, some friendly faces in terms of NPCs, bringing back the first big bad that they had ever faced, and seeing now that she's part of a coven that is a much bigger part of the story going forward now because, they've escaped apparently, and they're a threat. And now you have presumably are going to have a new queen, on the throne in a kingdom that is under severe financial pressure, and is now, both threatened possibly on multiple sides, possibly from without as and or within. It's not entirely clear, but it's a rough time, and things are getting more and more interesting all the time. So yeah, this went as well as I could possibly have hoped for. I made the remark at the time, one of our players, and I had to go, had to go. I think just as we were like kind of finishing up right after we finished up the combat, needed to get going. And I admit it was it ended up being a good thing that he had to go, because it was going to be really, really hard for me with everyone still there to put a lid on that particular session. It was so much fun. I was buzzing. It was the kind of thing where I didn't want it to end. I really didn't. 6 hours. I was ready to play some more. There was another reason why, though, I did need that to actually end. And that was because later that evening, hosted on Lord Gazumba's channel, was The Joust, in which I got to play the Black Knight once again. I played him last year, made it, I think it was, I don't remember, the semifinal or the final of the Joust itself before that champion faced the former champion for the overall title, which ended up, that would be Little Bones, retaining her overall crown. She kind of got a pass for the main part of the Joust last year, and just had a fight who was, joust whoever was left. So, it was a great time last year. It was a great time this year. Did not make it as far this year. Got to play the Black Knight up to his really bastard self, and it's interesting for me stepping out of personal character like that to play a guy who's just really not much in the way of redeeming features. His heart and soul are as dark as his ebony armor, and yeah, it was a good time. Joust against I was almost killed. Yeah, that's true. The Black Knight was almost killed in Joust. Jay, what was wrong? Did the person who was killed end up getting resurrected, or did they end up saying permadead? They're Vonnegut. I got to go up against Luke Gygax twice. Once I called him out. The second time he called me out, and yeah, I just did not have any luck on that one. They were both close, but the second time he finished me off a little more quickly. The first time we took it to the limit. He did manage to finish me off. So yeah, there was that. He was playing Eleator, the son of Melf, who, if those of you who are Greyhawk fans know as the caster of Melf's Acid Arrow and Melf's Minute Meteors. I think there's also a couple of other Melf specialized spells out there. But yeah, so that was a hell of a fun time. And that would have been enough for, probably 80% of the populace out there. But I wasn't done, because that night I got to play with the Folk and Myth crew in a Dragonbane game run by Bleak Season, which was a lot of fun. I love Dragonbane is so much fun. I've gotten to play quite a bit of it. I was playing in. It ended up being somewhat of a campaign. It was more of an adventure being run in 2-hour sessions that took place over a year because scheduling is a pain in the ass, and personal lives and being what they may. It took us a long time. We ended up we still haven't quite finished the adventure. We still have just a little bit to go, and we still have not been able to get together, but played a lot of Dragonbane over the course of the year. Got to play some Dragonbane in that game. Bleak did not take it easy on us. He kind of beat the snot out of us for the better part of 3 hours. Really, it was interesting game, but yeah, my day started at 11 in the morning. Oh man, I think we went at least until quarter after 11. So, it was another 12 hours of gaming, and I wasn't done. By the way, in case you're wondering, the Dragonbane game, they ended up having, it was during the joust that they announced that they had a player dropped and they were looking for a replacement, and I volunteered because, again, I don't have a problem saying no. I have a problem with not saying yes. And I jumped on it. It was all good. 12 hours in. So now we were up to, I think we were up to 29 hours at this point, because it should have been 28, but multiple sessions running long. We were over the 29 we were over the 29-hour mark. Yeah, we were definitely over the 29-hour mark by that point. My final session that I played in was on was on Sunday morning. This was the first of the games that I ran or played in that was not streamed, which is probably a good thing because I was a hot mess Sunday morning. It was a game that started at 9 a.m. It was those of you know who Josh Pop, otherwise known as Zarathon, ran a game that was taken from written from the notes of the late Len Lakofka, one of the World of Greyhawk originals, a frequent contributor to Lord Kazumba streams, and somebody we all miss for his perspective on on the World of Greyhawk, on the D&D itself. But yeah, it got to play in that game, had a hell of a time. I was spent by the end of that. I took a break after that. I was briefly, I lurked in some channels, said hello to some people, and I think at that point I just rested until it was time for the wrap up, Ask the Expert stream that night. And finally on Monday, after 34 hours, somewhere between 33 and 34 hours of gaming and running, either running or playing in games over the course from Thursday through Sunday morning, I rested. And I needed it because I was about as spent as somebody could be. Yeah. And for those of you who are still, hanging in there, watching, lurking, whatever the case may be, first of all, I want you to know that I appreciate your presence. I should say, and I've been lax about this, we do have a giveaway going on. Exclamation point, ticket to enter. It is and I just noticed that the Stream Elements was kind enough to have just sent out the notification recently. For the $10 digital product coupon from Trollord Games. Right now, your odds are really, really, really good because I've got one entry. Please, if you're there and you're interested, sign up for the giveaway. It doesn't cost you anything. So, let's see. Yeah, that was the weekend. It was a fantastic con. There were so many games to choose from. There was Greyhawk Reborn running a whole bunch of games for their Greyhawk Reborn campaign in 5e. There were games in, you know, lots and lots of different rule sets. Depending on what you like, you're probably going to be able to find it. I got to one of my favorite pastimes is, especially with Virtual Greyhawk Con, is being able to indulge in, AD&D 1E and 2E. And I did a bunch of it, both with Jay's game, with Carlos's game, with Josh's game. Got to do that. Obviously, I ran a lot of CNC as I always do. And it made for another fantastic weekend, another amazing success, and already looking forward to next year. It's once it's done. I think the next thing that we look forward to is coming in February. We'll have the St. Jude's fundraiser. I am hoping and praying that it is going to be the third weekend in February, so I can participate in with the group this time. Last year, there was stuff that required it being moved up earlier than normal. But hopefully it goes back to its normally scheduled time and date. And that's another big community thing. We do so much. The community does so much and works so hard and does such a fantastic job in both putting in the work and donations for the fundraiser. Every year we've beaten the amount from the previous year. This past year, we raised over $25,000, and I can't wait to see what we do, this coming year. 26,000. Yeah, that sooner or later we're going to hit a number that those numbers are going to get harder and harder to beat. But even if we get there or anywhere close to that, it's still still a fantastic event. I still have faith in the community that as long as we get close, people will do what it takes to bring it home. But yeah, we're gonna there's coming that, and then then after that we all look forward to GaryCon, where both the Greyhawk community and the Trollord Games community will see many people at GaryCon. I will be there. I was lucky enough to I was lucky enough to not only get into obviously get the GaryCon badge, but also managed to get a thing on site. See you soon, Jay. So that I'm not staying in the Grand Geneva this time. I'm staying at the Holiday Inn Club Vacation, but it's on the premises. I've got the trolley to take me door to door. Life is good. That's all I can, that's all I can ask. And I can't wait to meet, if you're at GaryCon and you see me, come up and say hello. Tell me who you are. I know I've met more than a few. I get to, I've met all the Trollord folks multiple times. But meeting members of the community is always special. Seeing members of the Greyhawk community, especially those that I've known for years now. And I estimated between the Trollord community and the Greyhawk community, I knew some 70 to 75 people at GaryCon this past year. We may break that number this year, which just boggles my mind. It's always weird to me to hear my name being called out in a place where there's, up to 2,500 people or 3,500 people in attendance, and realizing, yeah, they very, very well likely are talking to me. I mentioned that I ran, getting there last year. I didn't make it to the front desk from the entryway to the front desk of the hotel without running into 7 people I know. I made it 3 steps into the door before somebody I knew was calling my name. So it's a special experience. I'm looking forward to, figuring out how to have enough energy to do all the things and hang out with all the people. And I've made the decision that this year I'm staying to the Monday. So, I don't have to worry about being exhausted the day I'm flying back. I'll be flying back the day after the con ends. I will have a day of just rest, basically an evening of just rest and relaxation. I will probably also take off from work the following Tuesday. So, I can push myself more during that weekend. I don't have to worry about missing out as things are happening, but I'm resting up because I need to conserve energy. It's going to be a fantastic time. Yeah, and then as soon as that happened, as soon as Gary Con's over, then suddenly we're waiting for Virtual Greyhawk Con again. Going, jumping from March to October. Yeah, this thing called summer. Whatever. I kid. I enjoy summer. Listen, I'm a Jersey guy, and one thing about Jersey guys, I enjoy the changing of the seasons. I like the fact that we have seasons. I wish some of the seasons would last a little shorter than they do, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, so I'm looking forward to all that. But I really, truly, truly am looking forward to this campaign continuing. I'm already trying to figure out what the Righteous Hands are doing next. Trying to figure out who else I can put into a group together, who'd be willing to play in-stream games as a group, because I could always use more groups. One of my groups has they've done an adventure together, but scheduling is difficult. The other group is, one of the other groups is a little easier, I will admit, and I probably should work on getting them together again, because I know that will be a fun time. But my first group, I definitely look forward to. They're the ones who keep hounding me when we're playing next, and I'm looking forward to the next adventure, and seeing where it goes from here, because the land that they live in and the land in which they do business is undergoing great changes, is undergoing great threat, and it's a time for heroes. And while they may not have intended it, they're going to they're going to have to adopt that mantle. It's kind of being thrust upon them. We'll see how they do with that, how they handle it. But yeah. So if you're out there and you participated in Virtual Greyhawk Con this weekend, or even if you've done any recent gaming, tell me about it. What have you been up to? I'd love to hear your stories. What you're doing. If you'd like, you can also join my Discord. It is very, very low pressure. I avoid pings. Like, the only time I do pings, honestly, is when I'm doing the announcement for a stream. So, except for weeks where I have games running, and because this campaign is the way it is, and it's not a weekly thing, you're going to get exactly one ping a week on most weeks. So you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about being annoyed by that. It's a very chill, low key. We just people hanging out, discussing TTRPGs, Kickstarters, whatever the case may be, role playing different games and so on and so forth. If you're interested, hop in, and we'd love to have you. But yeah, it was a good weekend. It's from a gaming perspective, this year has not sucked. I can say that it has not sucked at all. I kind of lost track. I know last year I had some ridiculous number. I think it was like 26 TTRPGs that I played for the very first time last year. Yes, Brungal. Yes, you did. Brungal had a character, is one of the people who has a new character in my campaign, and played in the first two sessions, both of the Friday sessions with that character. So, will be on the list of people I call upon for, future sessions. And basically any of the people that have played are definitely welcome back. but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next for the party, what comes next for the campaign. Um, and I hope that it continues to grow. I hope that I'm able to find more people interested in playing in the game. Um, if you want to catch up, you just saw a link. All of the campaign sessions that were streamed on Twitch uh, have been uploaded to YouTube. I should note that my GaryCon sessions, I always, I basically these days I've run 3 games at GaryCon, a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday game. All 3 of those games are also part of the campaign. If you happen to play in one of those sessions, you are welcome to, if you enjoyed it, want to be part of the campaign, and are interested in playing one of the stream games, you're welcome to keep that character as your character for the campaign. But it's a lot of fun, and I look forward to just adding more people, adding more sessions, seeing where the campaign goes, seeing where the players take it, and keep it going, keep it growing. It's going to be an exciting year 2. All right. I do see that Lord Gazumba has gone live. Um, let's see. Is there anything else I want to touch on? I'm looking forward. Yeah. Beyond that, I'm having fun. I joked about the fact that, I've joked about the fact that there's a thing that I have problems saying no to, and that is Kickstarters or other crowdfunded projects. I currently have 19 projects that are outstanding. 6 of them by Trollord Games. You know, I'm happy to report that one of those at least is coming in soon. Apparently, Amazing Adventures is shipping next week, so that'll get me down to 5. Keep them coming. It sounds like The Hermit is getting close, so that'd be awesome if that could get it done really quick, because that'll bring me down to 4 on that side. I did have one of the 19 come in partially. All I'm waiting for, and that's I have it right here. This fantastic resource, the Geologist Primer. That is a very, very thick book. I realize that I might be covering my microphone. That is a very thick book. You can see it. It is packed to the brim with all kinds of information and illustrations on rocks, crystals, what you name it, it's got it. And it is very much a resource for using in TTRPGs. Also, as well as just an informational guide. It is a sister product to the Herbalist Primer, which I ended up getting last year. But yeah, I'm waiting on 19 of them coming in, almost down to 18 as soon as the digital rewards are given out for this one. I think I have another one that I might be able to close out because I think it's pretty much considered done. So I'm hoping. Oh yes. In addition to that, I also have Reaper Bones 6 coming. I just got the shipping notification today, or it might have been yesterday. I don't remember. It might have been overnight for all I remember. I think I paid the bill yesterday. I think the shipping notification occurred today. It's scheduled to arrive here next Wednesday. And it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing all the miniatures. I have yet to paint one of my Reaper Bones 5 miniatures. I've got 3 of the dragons from it are primed, not yet assembled. And, well, I guess I have a week to at least get one of them painted. Just one. It'd be progress. I can do it. No, I can't. Yes, I can. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be, it's an interesting time with all the stuff that I've got coming in, all the gaming and such. And, on that note, Lord Gazumba is live, probably in the preview section, the pre-trail, what do you call it, the trailer video that he has for it, where before tonight's game. It is some AD&D. We like to call the thing 1.J as far as the version. It's a mix of 1E, 2E, a whole lot of homebrew and stuff added from Dragon magazines from over the years that he's added in terms of rules, classes, you name it. And some of the most amazing terrain, courtesy of Bill the Master Crafter, as he's known in the community. If you've not seen Lord Gazumba streams, you're going to want to stick around for this raid. But before we do that, I do want to close the giveaway. I'm going to give it another minute or so. Exclamation point ticket to winter. Yeah, to winter. Yeah, winter's coming. Not quite yet though. Exclamation point ticket to enter, and for $10 coupon towards any digital product from the Trollord Games website. Please, if you're, if there's stuff there that you want to purchase, enter. It doesn't, you're not obligated to do anything else. It is easy as that. Doesn't cost you anything. Like I said, I'll give it a minute, but we're going to get ready to bring it to the stream ending screen. And with that, all right, I am going to go ahead and close the giveaway. And draw a winner. Touch of Evil. Congratulations. You have won this week's giveaway. I will get you that code immediately after. Let me get set up the raid of Lord Gazumba. I want to thank everyone for hanging out. Thanks for the Lord Gazumba and Savage Splendor. Thank you for the subscription. Savage Splendor, thank you for the bits. Those of you who chatted, you're awesome. Those of you who were watching, lurking, even if you just had it lurking in the background while you were doing something else, I appreciate each and every one of you. And we got 12 people ready to raid into Lord Gazumba. Get whatever raid emote you have ready, and I will see you next week, where we will have Ultra Magnus from the Trollord Games Discord joining me. I believe we're going to be discussing some of the Adventurer's Backpack classes and what we think of them and thoughts about using them in your campaign. As you can tell, I'm absolutely thrilled about them. But we'll see where that discussion goes, because we definitely have thoughts. Beyond that, we hope you all have a good weekend and a good week, and we'll see you next week. See you on the flip side.